All right. So let your eyes close and just take a moment to just notice what it feels like to be here. Notice the quality of your breath. Notice how you feel being in your body this morning. See if you can invite that length and lift in the spine. Rooting down with the tailbone, up with the crown of the head. Let the shoulders roll back and down to spread the heart. And just notice if there's any energetic shift just in doing that. And I'd like to offer you these words from a very ancient yogic text called the Radiant Sutras. The roar of joy that set the worlds in motion is reverberating in your body and in the space between all bodies. Beloved, listen. Find that exuberant vibration rising new in every moment, resounding through the channels of delight. Those channels of delight being that main conduit that runs right through the center of your spine. So see if you can open that conduit, the Sushumna. Know that you are flooded by that vibration always. That ocean of sound is inviting you into its spacious embrace, calling you home. So what we're touching into here in the silence, as we just come into stillness and breathe, is that roar of joy that is actually the silence that comes before all sound. It is found in the stillness that comes prior to any movement. And it exists in the boundless space that gives rise to all form. The roar of joy that set the worlds in motion is reverberating in your body. And with that, I invite you to come into your yogic breathing, filling up from bottom to top, expanding the belly at the beginning of your breath, widening the ribs as you lift the breath high up toward the chest, filling the chest, pausing at the top just for a moment to feel the fullness, and then exhaling, emptying chest, emptying ribs, emptying your belly. And at the end of your exhale, drawing the navel in toward the spine to completely empty out. You can layer on the Ujjayi breath with a little contraction of the back of the throat, engagement of the glottis. So you hear that whisper sound brushing the back of the throat. And if this feels a little complicated to put all of those things together, just envision yourself filling up all the way into the chest and emptying all the way back down. Keep it simple in your own mind. Think of your own torso as being like an empty vessel into which life energy is being poured. And any vessel always fills up from bottom to top. So feel yourself filling up as the life force is being poured into you all the way up to the brim. Invite the breath to come all the way up to the collarbones. And feel that filling to the brim. And then exhale, pour it out. And when we empty a vessel, we're pouring it out. It always pours out from top to bottom. In and out through the nose, long and slow and steady. The great yoga master BKS Iyengar said, every breath that we take in is a taking in the strength of God. And you can think of that as anything, as just energy, power, prana, grace. And every exhale is an offering out whatever we do in service to the world. So filling up, opening to that grace, that power, that strength, that aliveness. Exhaling, letting ourselves be an instrument, making an offering to the world. Opening with every in-breath, offering with every exhale. And then on the next in-breath, let the breath lift the arms, reaching the arms out to the horizons. Palms come together overhead. You can open your eyes and let your hands return to the heart center, coming to that place of centering and honoring that roar of joy that is reverberating in your body. Let's join our voices together with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. And refresh your posture. Find that long spine. And we're going to invite some movement in, working our way down from the top to the bottom, from the upper body to the lower body. So expand upward through the spine, letting the crown of the head reach skyward. And we're going to begin with some neck stretches. So I invite you to let your right ear, and again, I'll be your mirror here, let your right ear draw toward your right shoulder. So you're inviting a stretch along the left side of the neck. And just notice what comes alive there. You might notice some tension, a real stretch on that left side, and maybe a little bit of tightness on the right side. But just allow that right ear to soften down toward the right shoulder. And you can reach your left hand down and away at a diagonal. And with each exhale, you can allow any tension that you can notice in the neck area to just drain down the arm and out your fingertips. Staying with those full breaths, drawing the breath all the way up to the chest, exhale. And on that exhale, see if you can allow that right ear to melt a little more deeply down to the right shoulder. You can stay like this, and if you want to deepen it, this is optional. You can wrap your right arm around your head and just cup your left ear with your right hand. To give it a little more leverage, the weight of the arm just gives it a little bit more leverage for that stretch. But we don't want to pull on the head. We're not pulling or forcing. We're just using a little bit of extra weight there to create a little deeper stretch. But that's optional. You can always just keep your right hand down. Stay long in the spine, so keep your shoulders stacked over your hips. It's just the side stretch in the neck here, letting the tension drain out the fingertips on the left, out the left arm. Another deep breath in, that Ujjayi breath, little whisper sound in the back of the throat. Exhale. One more breath in and out, softening the ear toward the shoulder, no forcing, just letting it release. And then taking the right hand to the right cheek and just help your head to come back up to center so you don't get a muscle spasm. And just bring both hands down to your thighs and just notice the difference between one side of your neck and the other. See if you notice a difference, inviting in that length and prana. Lengthen up again through your spine. And exhale, just let that left ear soften down toward the left shoulder. You can reach your right fingertips down and away, that diagonal line, inviting that river of energy to flow down and out the fingertips as tension releases. And you may notice here, as you stay with this for a few breaths, that the edge begins to change and soften. With each exhale, just allowing that ear to sink down toward the shoulder. And you might notice that it begins to open up. If it feels good, you can wrap your left arm around your head, just cupping your right ear with the left hand without pulling, just letting the weight of that arm invite a little more leverage for that stretch. Keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips so we're not going into any rounded spine or any tilting to the side. Staying long in the spine, except for that cervical spine, which is your neck, the top part of your spine. Taking a side bend with the neck, inviting length in the right side of the neck, allowing that left ear to sink down toward left shoulder. Sending the breath to any places where you notice there's tightness or restriction. And sending the breath out, any tension down the arm and out the fingertips. One more long, slow, deep breath in. And exhale, release. We carry a lot of tension in the neck and shoulders that we're not even aware of in our day-to-day lives until we do stretches like this and we go, wow, I didn't realize I was so tight. Slide your left hand to your left cheek and just slowly invite the head to come back up to center. And notice if anything's been freed up. Now I'm going to invite you to interlace your fingers like this behind your head and just let the elbows point straight ahead. So your wrists are going to frame the ears and let the chin drop down toward the chest. So you're still keeping your shoulders stacked over your hips. You're not rounding the shoulders forward. You're staying long in most of the spine except for the neck as the chin drops down toward the notch at the base of the throat or toward the chest. And notice how deeply you feel the stretch in the back of the neck. Maybe it goes all the way down to that place between the shoulder blades. So instead of sticking the elbows out to the side, just let the arms relax. So the upper arms frame your ears. And with every exhale, see if you can allow the chin to sink a little deeper toward the chest or toward the notch at the base of the throat, inviting a lengthening and stretching in the back of the neck. Using your Ujjayi breath to send the breath to any place where you're inviting length and space. One more breath here. And then bringing the hands to the cheeks, invite the head to come up to center. And notice if you feel, I know I always feel a little taller after I do this stretch. And just notice what's alive in you. Notice what's shifted. And staying centered on your sit bones, we'll do another movement of the head. And I'm going to invite you to do a practice that the Sufis use in a prayer practice called zikr. And the zikr means remembrance. And it's a prayer where they actually use the movement of the head to symbolically clean out the impurities in the heart, sweeping out the chambers of the heart. You're going to go from, I'll mirror you here. You're going to go from your left to your right, making a U shape with the chin. Sweep down from one shoulder to the other. And then look up to the sky, inviting that divine energy to come and fill you up. And then exhale, bring the chin down to the chest. As you drop the chin down to the chest, you're inviting that divine energy to come right into your heart. And then the head comes up to center so that you look around and just find that centered and balanced place and see the world renewed. So chin comes to your left and exhale, do that U-shaped sweep, sweeping out the chambers of the heart from left to right. Inhale, look up, looking up to invite in the divine energy. Exhale, chin comes to chest. And drawing that divine energy down into the heart and then back up to center. And again, sweep out the chambers of the heart. Inhale, look up and then invite in that divine energy. Exhale, chin comes to chest. You can go nice and slow here so you don't get dizzy and then come up to center. And again, sweeping out the chambers of the heart. Drawing in divine energy, look up. Exhale, chin comes to chest. And head comes back up to center. One more. Sweep out. Look up. And exhale, chin to chest. Let's do it the other way now. Turn to your right shoulder. Exhale, sweep right to left. Inhale, look up. Exhale, chin drops to chest. And come up to center. And again, sweep out the chambers of the heart. There's a prayer that goes with this. Chin to chest, up to center. One more, sweep out. La ilaha il Allah. Excuse me. And again, la ilaha il Allah. There is only the presence of the one. Come back up to center and notice how you feel. I'm just going to grab a little water for a second. I have something in my throat. Take a moment now to roll the shoulders. Just moving the shoulders, big wide circles of the shoulders. Whatever burden you're carrying around today on your shoulders, just let it go. Let the breath be long and slow and deep. As you let it roll off your shoulders, roll the shoulders forward. And then making sure you're seated at the front edge of your chair. You're going to interlace your fingers in Yoga Mudra arms, drawing the arms nice and long. I'm just turning sideways so you can see. If you need to use your strap, if your elbows are bending, then you can take a little space between the hands using the strap, pull the strap taut, lift the hands, just straighten the arms to feel that lovely stretch in the upper back, shoulders, draw the shoulder blades toward one another, upper arms, spread the heart and feel the heart radiating open here. Nice big breath right in through that window in the center of your chest. Let the spirits fly in and out. And then release the arms and turn the palms up. Let the hands come onto your thighs. Just notice what's alive in you. Notice all of the tingling and pulsing and sensation of prana moving through you. That's the roar of joy that is reverberating in your body. I'm going to invite you into another arm, wonderful upper body stretch, the eagle arms. So reach your arms out in front of you, palms turned up. We're going to cross at the elbows. So bring your right arm underneath this time to start. And your left elbow is going to stack on top of your right elbow. Both of the arms, the inner elbow faces up. And see if you can draw the left elbow a little bit past the right, if you can. And then bend the elbows and turn the thumbs to face away, the thumbs face toward you, so the palms are facing in opposite directions. Your fingers are pointing to the sky, and the backs of the hands face one another. This might be as deep as you go in your eagle arms. If it's available to you and you can take it deeper, then you can bring your right hand, which is now on your left side, toward you, and see if you can wrap the wrist so you bring your fingertips on the right hand to the inside of the left palm. Now that's a deep wrapping. It may not be available. So another way to do this is just hook the pinky and the thumb, if that's not available. But just keep your thumbs pointing towards you and your fingers to the sky. So either back to the hands or hook pinky and thumb, or bring fingers to palm. And then what you want to do is lift the elbows so that they come to the same height as your shoulders. And that's what's going to juice up the stretch in the upper back, upper arms, tops of the shoulders. Lift fingertips to the sky. Try not to crook your fingers so that you're finding a long, unbroken line of energy through the fingertips up to the sky. Lift, lift, lift. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, release and unwind. Oh, notice all that energy in the arms. If that feels too deep a stretch for you, you can always just come into hugging yourself, opposite arms to your shoulders. So you can always do that. So then let's try it the other way. So open your hands, Arms reaching forward. Now we'll take the left arm underneath. Again, I'm mirroring you. And try to let the right elbow come a little bit past so that you have room to bend both elbows, and let the backs of the hands come toward one another to start. Thumbs point toward you, fingers to the sky. If you can, either hook pinky to thumb or wrap the wrists so you bring the fingers on one hand to the inside of the palm on the other hand. Then lift the elbows, go for the juice, breathe into it. You're gonna feel a nice stretch behind the upper arms, upper back, maybe an opening behind the shoulder blades. Lift fingers to the sky. Send your breath there. Breathe and enjoy. This is the stretch of the eagle arms. And then releasing, unwinding. And just take a moment to roll the shoulders one way and the other way. Wiggles and waggles, maybe rolling each shoulder separately. And then turn the palms up and feel the aliveness. Feel that roar of joy reverberating in your body. Maybe you feel some heat pulsing, dancing of energy within you. And then once again, seated with your sit bones at the very front edge of your chair, spine long, bring your hands to your knees, and we'll take the cat-cow, using your sitting bones like the blades of a rocking chair, arching back, looking up, heart draws forward, shoulders draw back and down. Exhale, chin to chest, round the spine the other way, draw the navel in as you squeeze out all the breath. So taking those spinal undulations, concave and convex shape of the spine here. And if it feels good, you can take it into that dervish bow that we did last week, opening the arms on the inhale. See if you can draw the elbows toward one another along the back body. Exhale, crossing opposite arms to the shoulders, chin to chest. Opening and offering. Like that saying that comes from Iyengar, each in-breath is an opening to power and grace, strength. Each exhale is an offering, a humbly offering yourself to be an instrument of that power. Opening, wide, and crossing, offering, dervish bow. One more each side. And then coming back to long spine, we'll take a side bend. Lift your left arm to the sky. Let the right hand gently grasp the chair beside you. Lift up, inhale, exhale, side bend. Keeping both sitting bones rooted. Inhale up to center. Exhale, float that left arm down. Inhale, right arm rises. So the left hand holds the side of the chair, grow long from sit bone to fingertips without scrunching shoulder up to the ear. Exhale, side bend. Reach long and away. Inhale up to center. Exhale, float that right arm down. Other side, inhale, left arm lifts. Exhale, side bend, opening through the rib cage, expanding the muscles between the ribs. Inhale up. Exhale, float that hand down. Other side, right arm lifts. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, float down. And notice what's alive in you. We'll take some twists. Both arms rise to the sky on the next in-breath. Exhale, twist to your right. And grasp the chair wherever you're comfortable, either down behind your low back or at the back of the chair for a little more leverage there. Inhale up to center. Exhale, staying long from root to crown, leading with the heart. Softening shoulders away from the ears as you lengthen through the back of the neck. keeping both sit bones anchored down, flowing side to side at your own pace. And at your own pace means letting your breath move the body. Find the rhythm, comfortable rhythm of your own breathing. And with every inhale, you come back to center. And with every exhale, you deepen into the twist. One more each side. And when you come back to the center, you can let your feet come a little bit wider. Hands on your thighs, and we'll take those torso circles. This time you're shifting your weight from side to side. You're keeping your buttocks on the floor. So you're not going so far shifting that you're going completely off balance, but you're noticing how the weight is shifting from one sit bone to the other. Let the circles get big and wide. And then circle the other way. This time starting with wide circles. And you can let the circle spiral inward, getting smaller, just a little bit smaller each time. So you come back into stillness. And we're going to play with that and vary it a little bit, do a practice which I call barrel rolls. So I'm going to invite you to imagine that you have a keg, like a barrel, around your midsection. It's like a keg of beer, except it's empty, and it's lined with velvet. And what you want to do is you want to move your torso in a way that you're going to feel the velvet that's lining the inside of that barrel. But it's different than the movement we just did, where we're really circling and letting our shoulders move around in big circles. Here, you're going to keep the shoulders pretty much steady. They're going to move a little bit, but it's more of just a midsection torso movement, so that if you use that visualization of feeling the inner circumference of the barrel, and you're just drawing, so it's kind of like you're taking a little side stretch to one side, you're bringing the chest forward a little bit, and then to the other side, but you're keeping your sitting bones anchored. You're going to feel a little bit of shifting side to side, but it's a little bit different than what we did before. It's more of just a midsection, making these circles where the shoulders stay steady, fairly steady over the hips. And just feel that velvet. See how the velvet feels if you go the other way. Just letting your ribs kind of brush the inside of the barrel. And coming back to center. Let your legs widen as wide as you can comfortably go into the goddess pose. Again, you're seated at the front edge of your chair. You're going to feel a nice expansion stretch here in the inner thighs, knees over your ankles. So notice you don't want your feet to be spread out too wide. You want your lower legs to be straight up and down. And you're going to use your outer thighs to draw your legs open wide. So you feel a little stretch here in those inner thighs, and that nice hip opener right there in the hip joint. Lengthen up through the spine and open your arms into goddess arms, elbows shoulder height. Draw the elbows back, feel the expansion in the chest. So there's a little energy here as the backs of the knees draw back behind you. Your tail is rooting down into the earth, goddess connecting with earth, and expanding up to the heavens, connecting with the sky, heart wide open, spine long. And then we'll do that goddess embracing sequence. So open your arms wide. The goddess embraces the world. Big breath. Exhale and bring your hands back behind your chin to chest. Bow down. So you're going to round the upper back a little bit here, but keep the legs active, opening wide. Inhale, opening wide, embracing the world and crossing your arms the other way. Goddess embraces you. Chin to chest, squeeze out all the breath. Round the shoulders here. So here you can come into a little forward bend. Inhale, opening, embracing the world. Exhale, embracing you. Inhale, embracing the world. Exhale, embracing you. At your own pace, one more each side. Move with breath. Let the breath, the in-breath, invite that expansion. Let the out-breath invite that forward fold and that hugging you. And then opening wide up to Goddess, embracing the world. Big breath in, reach out from your fingertips in opposite directions. Reach the hands to opposite horizons. And exhale, bring the hands to the thighs. You're going to press into your left thigh, straightening your left arm and dropping the left shoulder down. Roll the right shoulder open and look up at the sky over your right shoulder. So you're inviting a length in the spine, but you're dipping down your left shoulder. So you're taking a little twist here. Looking up if you can at the sky. And come back up. And the other side, we're going to press into the right thigh, straightening the right arm. Left arm can remain bent. Drop the right shoulder down. Roll the left shoulder open and back as you look up at the sky. And release, come back up to center. And bounce the legs back together. And I'm going to invite you to come to standing here. And I will turn my chair sideways so you have a better view of what I'm doing. We're going to review the warrior pose, our warrior to downward dog sequence. So standing behind the chair in your mountain pose with your shoulders stacked over your hips, toes pointed straight ahead and hip width apart. Hip width, just want to remind you here that when we talk about the feet being hip width apart in Kripalu yoga, it means not the outside of the hips, which would mean that your feet would be like this wide. It's actually in line with these two protrusions at the front of the pelvis. If you place your fingertips there, you'll feel a bony protrusion here. Those are called your ASIS bones, as is bones, the front of the pelvis. You want your knees to be lined up with those two pointer bones, and then your ankles in line with your knees and your toes pointing straight ahead. So that's how we come to hip width apart. Also, when we stand in mountain pose, when we stand naturally, the feet usually turn out a little bit. We're going to make a conscious decision here in our mountain pose to turn the toes inward so that the outer edges of your feet are parallel to the outer edges. If you're standing on a mat, it would be to the outer edges of your mat. But if you're not using a mat, which we don't really need in chair yoga, then just let the outer edges of your feet be going straight ahead, parallel to one another. And root the tailbone down into the earth so you lengthen through the low back, shoulders stacked over hips, and the hands can just gently rest on the chair here. And we'll step back to take that downward facing dog. So nice and slow, walk your feet back. Find a long line through the back body. So your arms straighten and you're not going to grip the chair, but just gently rest your palms on the back of the chair. Spread your sit bones as you reach the tailbone back. And the more you find that length in the spine, the more you're going to need to engage a little core lift here. Navel draws in and up. Enjoy the stretch in the backs of the legs. If it's too intense, you can always bend your knees just a little bit to protect your hamstrings and your low back. Reach tailbone back. Let the heart sink down a little bit more. Find your breath here. Take 2 more breaths here in your downward facing dog. A nice stretch for the upper arms and shoulders. Whole back body lengthens here. And then slowly softening the knees. Rise up and bring your right foot forward. We're going to come into that warrior one pose. So your knee is going to be over your ankle on the right leg. So your lower leg is straight up and down. Turn your toes out slightly on your left foot and see if you can square the hips so that those two as-is bones are pointing straight forward. Shoulders over hips. So notice if you're leaning forward and you want to be straight up and down through the torso. That's what's going to give you that nice stretch in the front of the hip flexor on the left side. Either reach left hand to the sky here. So you lengthen to the whole stretch through the left side body and the whole left front of the body as well. So you can either take that or both hands to the sky if you feel steady and comfortable here. Remember that Sthira Sukham Asanam. Your yoga pose should be steady and comfortable. See if you can find that steadiness and comfort here. If it's available, you can take Yoga Mudra arms and spread the heart in Courageous Warrior. Big breath in. Lift the arms, reach them back behind you, and release. Bring the hands to the chair and slowly step back once again in your downward facing dog. You can just keep your ears in line with the upper arms here, or you can experiment with letting the head hang down if that feels good, if it feels like a nice stretch in the back of the neck. And then bringing the left foot forward to come into your warrior one on this side. So you're going to turn the right toes out 45 degrees. Your foot is flat and you're anchoring down through the outer edge of your back foot, of your right foot here. Knee over ankle. If you find that coming into that long stance with that front thigh parallel is a little more intense than you're ready for today, you can take a shorter stance and have that front thigh be a little more of an angle. Just remember, straight up and down through the conduit of your spine rather than leaning forward here. Square your hips, lift through the core, find the navel drawing in and up. So you're engaging that sense of power and fortitude and strength and courage as warrior. Perhaps bringing to mind what area of your life you need to invoke that. You can let your right arm rise to the sky here, lifting straight up through the fingertips to the sky. See if you can do that without scrunching the shoulder on the right side. Soften the shoulder down away from the ear. And then if it feels good to have both arms rise to the sky, it's fine if this feels a little too tight on the shoulder to have your arms straight up in line with your ears, you can have your arms open in a diagonal. I call this celebrative warrior. So you're kind of opening up in the spirit of celebration. If you want to take that yoga mudra behind you, you can take that, spreading the heart, squeezing the shoulder blades toward the center of the back. Big breath, courageous warrior. And then hands come back to the chair and come to stand once again in mountain. Now notice what's alive in you as you've cultivated the energy of warrior today. For our balance pose, I'm going to invite you to do a practice that looks very easy, but it's actually challenging. It's called walking the tightrope. So come beside your chair, and again, just give yourself room to just place your fingertip on the chair without being too tight against the chair. Just a natural distance from the chair where your hand can comfortably rest on the chair. And once again, with hips pointing straight ahead, take one foot, it doesn't matter which side you start from, and place it in front of the other foot so that your toes are pointing straight ahead on both feet. And you want to have the tippy toe, the big toe and the second toe of the foot that's behind, just touching the back of the heel. So your toes are touching your heel, and your feet are both pointing straight ahead in front of you. Root the tailbone down, lift through the core, and see if you can bring both hands to the center of the chest in prayer. If that feels unsteady for you and you need to have one hand on the chair, you can then make the sound of one hand clapping. And fix your gaze in any balance pose. We want to fix our gaze to a point on the floor a few feet in front of you, maybe 6 or 8 feet in front of you. Just downward focus gaze in front of you, just to anchor yourself in this balance practice. And notice all of the little micro movements that your feet and ankles and legs are making to keep you steady here. It's your body's own internal wisdom to know how to move you toward that state of stability. Sthira, steadiness, firmness. Now, where can you also invite in sukham, which is the sense of ease or comfort? Maybe softening the muscles around the face, the jaw, the shoulders. So you're sending your gaze out in front of you on the tightrope. And it's a simple stance, but it can be very challenging just to stay balanced. If you want to make it a little more challenging, you can lift the front foot and just place your tippy toes down, just kind of lift and lower, touching your tippy toes to the tightrope. And anytime you need to steady yourself with that chair, it's there. And release. Now you can do the other side, standing at the same side of your chair, or if you feel like you just would feel better for just balance, if it just feels good, you can come to the other side of your chair. Doesn't really matter. And other foot comes forward. Big toe and the second toe, the longest toe, is going to touch right behind the heels. Hip pointers forward, tail roots down. Find your steadiness, ease, comfort, firmness, and ease, walking your tightrope. And then if you need to make the sound of one hand clapping, that's fine. Reminds me of that old song by Leon Russell. I'm up on the high wire, one side's ice and one is fire. And that's how it can feel sometimes, just doing life. One side's ice, one is fire. And we're just caught in the balance, trying to find our balance between those extremes. If you want to play with tippy toe touching and lifting, that feels comfortable for you, you can do that. And when you're ready to release, just bring your feet back to hip width apart. Just take a moment to shake out one leg and shake out the other leg. If you really want to be adventurous, you can try to shake out both legs at the same time. Okay, how are we doing? I'm going to bring you into one more sequence here. I'm going to introduce you to the Warrior Two sequence. And Warrior Two is one that we're going to do seated on the chair, but using the chair for support. But it's a lovely hip opener and stretches the inner thigh and opens and strengthens through the chest as well as we use the arms. So I'm going to invite you to come onto your chair where you're going to be just sitting with your, I'll mirror you here as you go facing toward your right. You're going to take your right leg and make a 90-degree angle along the chair so that your thigh is going along the seat of the chair and your lower leg is right down underneath, straight up and down underneath the knee. And your left leg is going to be straight out to the side toward your left, and see if you can draw your left foot as close to being in line with your right foot as you can. Toes turned in a little bit past center. So you're going to turn the camera so you can see a little bit better. So going to turn the toes, instead of pointing out to the left,
Going to turn the toes to point a little bit past the center to the right. Those as is bones are going to be facing straight in front of you, as your knee on your right side is going to pull back behind you. So you're going to feel that opening in the hip. So you want just your right sit bone on the chair. Your left buttock is kind of hanging off the chair. If you find that you can't get your foot flat, then that's a good opportunity to take your folded blanket and place your foot right there so that you are grounded. So see if you can get yourself set up so that one leg is extending, your left leg is extending out to your side, your right leg is bent at a 90-degree angle, and your hips and your shoulders are facing straight ahead. Then we're going to open to the chest. So without scrunching the shoulders up to the ears, roll the shoulders down and back, spread wide through the heart, palms down, and your fingers are going to be together. And you're going to fix your gaze right over your middle finger. So you get nice opening in the hips here, but also cultivating that warrior energy, that sense of power and strength. If you notice the position that my body is in, my shoulders are over the hips. So I'm not leaning forward here, either forward in the chair, and I'm not leaning to the side to my right. I'm staying along a perpendicular line of the way the legs are going. So it's actually a vertical line through the spine and a horizontal line through the arms. Fix your gaze over that middle finger and look beyond it. Because here we're cultivating that quality of cutting through obstacles with that sword-like position of the arms. So we take that same fortitude and determination and power of the warrior one, but here we're also inviting an open heart, open hips. Some people call this the feminine version of the warrior. And yet this one pointed focus to cut through whatever is in our way. And then you can bring your left hand down to grasp the side of the chair, turn the front palm up and lift it to the sky, reach up, and then we'll just start by just reaching straight up so you get that stretch along the right rib cage. This is called the dancing warrior. If it's comfortable, you can look up, big breath in, and then exhale, release. Bounce the legs together, give them a little rub down, and we'll take it on the other side. So if you used a blanket, you can bring it to the other side to place your left foot. You want to come just with the left sitting bone at the edge of the chair. Reach your right leg straight out to the side. See if you can get your feet to line up with one another. Turn your right toes in a little bit past center toward the left. Turn your hips to face forward and your shoulders to line up with your hips, open wide through the chest. And you want to take the knee of the bent knee, which is your left knee on this side, and draw the outside edge of your knee toward the outside edge of your foot, toward your pinky toe. That's what it's going to give you that nice stretch in the inner thigh there. Wide open through the heart. You're going to fix your gaze over that middle finger on your left hand. See if you can look past the middle finger. See if you can keep the heart open and the shoulders soft. Find that ujjayi breath, that victorious breath. As you invite in that energy of warrior, what is it in your life that you need to cut through or cut out with that power of that sword-like mudra or gesture? Breathe into that. Visualize that. Bring that into your heart and mind. And then bringing the right hand down to just gently support yourself on the side of the chair. Let the left hand rise straight up. If it's comfortable, you can look up or you can just keep your gaze straight ahead, inviting length and space through the left side body. Big breath in, and then exhale, release. And bounce the legs together. Okay, that may have been a challenging one for some of you. That's okay. You will get used to it. It's using and opening parts of the body you may not have been used to opening. Let's take that figure 4 pigeon. Come forward on your sitting bones as we begin to wind down our practice. And just bring above the ankle to the opposite thigh. If you need to move your lower leg foot a little bit further out to be able to get that position, you can do that. Staying centered on your sit bones, find that figure 4. You can press with your hand to the inside of your knee. Just notice what you feel, then feel the juice. It's a nice stretch for the outer thigh and the glutes here. If you want to take it deeper, you can come down onto your forearms, maybe even just using a blanket in between to lean on, or full fold over the leg. Take a moment to find your breath. Reconnect with that steady, slow, deep Ujjayi breaths, ocean sound. Releasing here when you're ready. Actually, we'll go right into the twist. So as one ankle is on top of the other leg, you can just draw that knee in toward your heart, thigh in toward your torso. So you've got your, in this case, if you're mirroring me, your left lower leg would be outside your right thigh. And then wrap your right arm around the leg, the bent knee, to hug it in close. Your left arm comes back behind you to the back of the chair or to the seat of the chair to take an elegant seated twist. Lengthening up on the inhale, deepening on the exhale. When you're ready to let go, slowly unwind. Come to centered on your chair, and we'll take the other side, finding your figure 4, seated pigeon. Palm comes to inside of knee to give it a little bit of leverage, to a little more hip rotation open, if that feels comfortable. Softening around the shoulders, softening the muscles around the face. If it feels comfortable to fold forward, you can do that. Breathe and enjoy. Every in-breath taking in that strength, that divine energy and strength, prana, life force. Every exhale being an instrument to offer out in the world in your own unique way, your life force. If it feels good to fold over the leg, you can do that. It's also fine just to stay upright for a few breaths. Tune in and listen to what your body is telling you. Remembering to listen for the sound of the breath brushing the back of the throat like a feather. You can feel it sweeping through the back of the throat as you breathe in and out through the nose.
When you're ready to release the seated pigeon on this side, we'll transition right into that seated twist. So draw the knee in toward the heart. Stay long in the spine, thigh comes close to belly. Wrap your left arm around or whatever opposite side you're doing now. And take it into a long and lifted spine on the inhale. Lead with the heart into the twist, looking over your shoulder behind you on the exhale. Doesn't matter how deep you go into the twist. Just come to a place where you're feeling some energy and sensation. And celebrate that. Let each breath be a celebration of what's alive in you, exactly where your body is, right here and right now. Slowly releasing. Bring both feet down. Turn the palms up. Let your knees be in line with those hip pointers. Long spine. Soft muscles around the eyes and the jaw and the brow. Let the eyes close, palms turn up. Just taking a moment to sit in silence and notice the quality of your aliveness right now. The roar of joy that set the worlds in motion is reverberating in your body and in the space between all bodies. Let the breath soften into its natural rhythm. Let go of the ujjayi and just let the breath come to you. Letting it find its own natural rhythm. Just observe and enjoy. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. This traditional chant, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om, means praise to that divinity within us. The word Rama is a name for God, and it means reservoir of joy, which which exists, of course, within your own being, within your own heart. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart, palms in prayer. There is a silence that exists prior to all sound. There is a stillness that gives rise to all movement. And there is a boundless space out of which all form arises. And we call into that with the sound of Om. So those of you who wish to, I invite you to join me in closing our practice with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Namaste, everyone. That divinity in me sees and bows to the divinity in you.